The great hall on Vexara Prime glowed with soft blue light from floating orbs high above the curved floor. Representatives from 200 alien species sat in wide rings around the center platform. Their bodies filled every shape and size. Some had tentacles that waved slowly, others had shells that clicked when they moved. Feathers shimmered on tall, thin beings. Machine minds glowed with steady red pulses. The air smelled of metal and strange spices from 1,000 worlds. At the lowest level, far below the main seats, sat the human group. 5 people in plain gray suits looked small next to the giant forms around them. Ambassador Elena Vasquez led them. She had short black hair and calm dark eyes. Her team included 2 men and 2 women. All of them sat straight and quiet. They knew this place did not welcome them. Fully 80 years of contact meant nothing to most species here. Earth stayed in the observer zone, a lowered circle that showed humans as newcomers who should stay silent and learn. The meeting reached the item about human space. The speaker system hummed, and a huge Krelith Rose Vornak-9 stood 8 feet tall with 4 arms and clicking mandibles. His kind ruled many systems, and like to show strength, he activated a large hologram that filled the center of the hall. Pictures appeared: Earth's old wars, burning cities, factories, pouring smoke, crowded cities, spreading fast, new colonies pushing past old lines drawn long ago. Vornak-9 spoke in a deep voice that echoed through every translator. These Deathworlders breed like insects and eat resources like fire. They call their strength toughness. But it is only wild chaos. We suggest a new line 30 light-years closer to their home star. No more growth without our check. We will watch their numbers and take their extra materials. This way, the galaxy stays safe from one greedy kind. Laughter rolled through the chamber. Low rumbles came from the heavy Gorvaks. Sweet chimes rang from the elegant Elysians. Even the cold machine voices buzzed in agreement. The sound grew louder as more joined in. They looked down at the small human group with pity or scorn. Elena Vasquez raised her hand for time to speak. The hall quieted just enough. The speaker system gave her the floor. She stood up slowly and looked around at the sea of faces. We followed every rule you made. We paid for damage we did not cause. We held our ships back while raiders with your marks attacked our stations. We asked for fair talk many times. She stopped for one breath and continued. But if this council sees humans as a sickness to lock away, then we have no reason to sit at this table anymore. The laughter came back louder this time. Voices shouted from every side. Go home, then leave this place. The adults talk now. Vornak-9 leaned his big head forward and clacked his jaws in clear fun. Run away, small monkeys. We have real work here. Elena gave a small, tight smile that did not reach her eyes. She nodded. Once. Very well, we heard you. She turned and walked toward the exit ramp. Her 4 team members stood and followed without a word. No one spoke, no one looked back. The humans moved in a straight line, past glowing barriers and staring eyes. The heavy doors slid open, then closed behind them with a soft hiss. Inside the hall, the laughter slowly died down. Delegates turned back to their screens and talked about other matters. Vornak-9 sat again, pleased with himself. He thought the small apes learned their place. The machines calculated low risk. The Elysians whispered that humans would beg to return soon. Everyone felt sure the matter ended there. But far away on fast ships heading toward Sol, the 5 humans already sent coded messages. Home command received the full report in minutes. Leaders on Earth read. The words and faces grew hard. Orders went out quietly at first, then faster. In Geneva, the council room filled with people from every nation. They watched the recorded scene again and again. No one shouted, no one argued. They simply agreed on one thing: the time for asking ended. At the same hour, clocks on Earth, Mars, Luna, and distant colonies all showed the same moment. A single clear signal flashed across every human network. All agreements with the concordant species stop now. Earth and her people stand alone. No long speech followed, no warning came. The message stayed short and final. Shipyards that slept for years woke up. Machines hummed louder. Conveyors moved metal plates into place. Welding sparks flew in bright arcs. Workers in suits hurried to stations. they had not used in peacetime. On Titan, huge hangars opened doors that stayed closed for decades. Long shapes slid out into the dark. They looked like old explorer ships, but carried heavy guns hidden under smooth hulls. Freighters changed 2 cargo bays filled with missiles. Instead of goods passenger liners, grew point defense turrets on their sides. Mining rigs on asteroids turned into forts with thick armor plates. Across human worlds, people watched the news feeds. They saw the walkout clip played many times. No one panicked. Faces stayed calm. Some smiled quietly, others nodded as if they waited for this day long ago. In bars on Mars, people raised glasses and spoke soft words to Earth and everyone who calls her home. In schools, children learned new lessons about old human traits: stubbornness, will to fight, ability to build fast when pushed. Recruit centers filled with lines that stretched around blocks. Young and old signed up. They trained hard and learned to use weapons most never touched before. On the other side of the galaxy, alien analysts stared at screens. Numbers jumped high. Ship production rose fast. Material use tripled. Factory output broke every record. Diplomats sent questions but received no answers. Vornak 9 sat in his command chamber and laughed again. He told his officers the humans play at anger. They will come back soon, begging for talks. They always do. His officers nodded, but some felt doubt. The data showed something different, something cold and steady. Earth did not send threats. Earth did not ask for peace. Earth simply worked. Factories roared day and night. Ships grew longer and stronger. Crews drilled until every move became perfect. The galaxy watched and waited. Many thought it was a show. Others began to worry. In quiet rooms far from Vixara Prime, human leaders met. They looked at maps of stars and lines that once held them back. One general spoke low. "We stop playing their game now." Another answered, "Yes, we start our own." The first steps already happened. The treaties died. In silence, the machines of war woke up. The people of Earth stood ready. No one knew the full plan yet, but everyone felt the change. The air carried a new weight, a promise of something big and unstoppable. The small group that walked out of the hall carried more than anger. They carried the future of their kind, and the galaxy would soon learn what that meant. The clock on every human world hit the exact same second, 3:47 in the morning UTC. A single pulse shot out from the deep bunkers under Geneva. It traveled faster than light through secure channels. No voice spoke. No image appeared, only clean white text on black screens. Executive Order 0, all treaties signed with concordant species lose force right now. Earth and every colony she claims stand free, effective this moment. No extra words came, no plea for understanding, no list of complaints. The order stood alone like a closed door. On Luna, the old shipyards lit up one by one. The massive domes glowed red, then white. Huge robotic arms that rested for years grabbed steel plates. Fresh antimatter pods rolled from storage bays. Workers in heavy suits ran to posts they knew from drills long ago. Sparks flew in long, bright lines. As welders joined hull sections, crews shouted short commands over the noise. Mars followed fast. The red planet factories roared awake. Conveyor belts moved at full speed, carrying railgun barrels, fusion cores, thick armor slabs. Engineers checked seals and power lines. They moved quick and sure. No one wasted time talking about what happened. Everyone knew. Out on Ceres, the belt yards opened. Hidden slips, long sleek shapes pushed free into open space. They looked like simple survey craft from old records, but carried missile racks under false panels and heavy point defense grids. The ships turned dark and silent, waiting for orders. Titan joined next. Methane storms swirled around the rising hangars. Giant doors slid apart, revealing rows of heavy carriers. Each one held hundreds of attack drones, ready to launch. The cold air filled with engine hums as reactors came online. Across every human settlement, the same pattern repeated. Small outposts on distant rocks, big orbital rings around gas giants, hidden bases in deep space. All woke at once. Factories that made toys and food switched to guns, and shield civilian ships got new plating, and hidden weapons passenger liners turned troop carriers in hours. In the quiet command center above Earth, a group of leaders watched live feeds from every yard Admiral Reyes stood tall with. Gray hair and steady eyes, he spoke low to the room. "We do not shout, we do not beg, we build." A woman next to him nodded. "General Lin." She pointed at a map that showed human space, old borders in faint blue, new lines drawn in sharp red. "We turned the zone they gave us into our first wall. No one crosses without cost." Orders went out to every fleet. Every captain read the same short message: treaties gone, prepare for defense, turn every ship into a weapon, train every crew like they fight tomorrow. On the civilian side, people moved without panic in cities. On Earth, streets stayed calm, shops opened, schools ran normal classes. But underneath the surface, things changed fast. Volunteers walked into recruitment halls, lines grew long but quiet. Young people signed papers, older ones too. Retired soldiers dusted off old armor and reported back. Factories that built cars now built tanks that flew. News feeds showed only basic facts. The walkout clip from Vixara played, often. No angry voices filled the air, no crowds marched with signs. People simply worked harder. They looked at each other and understood. No need for big words. The insult landed, everyone felt it. Far from Sol, alien stations picked up strange signals. Analysts stared at screens. Numbers climbed fast. Human shipyards doubled output in days. Material pools tripled. Rare metals flowed from mines at record speed. Factory power use broke every chart. One Krelith officer on a border post laughed. At first, he sent a message to his command: "They pretend to fight, they will fold soon." But more data came in. Sleeper ships long listed. As scrap moved to new positions, drone swarms appeared near jump points. Small scout craft vanished from sensors, then returned changed and armed. Vornak 9 sat in his high tower on the Krelith home world. He watched reports with growing frown. His mandibles clicked in anger. "These apes think noise scares us. They lack depth, they break soon." His advisors agreed at first. Then one young officer spoke quiet: "The numbers do not lie, sir. Production curves match war patterns from their old histories." Vornak 9 waved a claw away. "Nonsense, they argue among themselves. They always do. Give them weeks." They begged to talk again. But weeks did not bring pleas. Instead, human embassies closed fast. Every diplomat left every station. Every shared lab powered down. Trade beacons went silent. Routes once busy turned empty. Alien merchants who sold goods to humans found no buyers. Orders canceled without reason. Payments stopped. Ships waited at docks with full holds and no clearance. Panic started. Small whispers in council halls, questions on private channels. Why do they move so fast? Why no words? Why no fear? On Earth, a single broadcast went out on open bands. No leader appeared, only text on black: "We heard your laughter. We felt your scorn. Now watch." No threat followed, no promise of attack, just those words in silence after. Across the stars, species watched. Humans did not march on anyone. They did not fire first shots. They built, they trained, they waited. In hidden shipyards, new designs took shape: dreadnoughts with guns that could crack moons, carriers that launched swarms like angry bees, frigates fast and covered in spikes like angry animals. Engineers worked around clocks. No one slept much, no one complained. Families sent messages to loved ones on ships: "Be safe, come home." Whole simple words, but heavy with meaning. Children drew pictures of Earth ships, strong and bright. Parents hung them on walls. They reminded everyone what waited at home. In training halls, recruits learned fast. They ran drills until muscles burned. They studied alien ships until every weak point stayed in memory. They practiced boarding actions in zero gravity. They learned to fight dirty when needed. One sergeant told his group, "Remember, they called us vermin. Show them what vermin can do when cornered." The group answered with quiet nods. No cheers, no shouts, just hard eyes and steady hands. On distant colonies, miners dug deeper. They pulled more ore than ever before. They knew every ton fed the yards, every hour counted. Scientists in labs pushed old limits, new drives, new shields, new weapons appeared on test benches. They worked quiet and fast, no leaks, no boasts. The galaxy waited for humans to crack, to fight among themselves, to send diplomats with lowered heads. Nothing came. Instead, the silence grew heavier, ships grew stronger, crews grew sharper, borders grew harder. One old human captain stood on his bridge. He looked at the stars and spoke to no one. They poked us, now they wait for us to cry. He smiled, small and cold. Not today. The Order Zero still hung in every system. No one took it back. No one softened it. Earth stood alone, now, not weak, not scared, ready. The first phase ended not with noise, but with work, endless steady work, the kind that builds empires or breaks them. Alien eyes watched closer. Now doubt crept in, laughter faded, questions grew. What comes next? No one knew yet, but everyone felt it. Something big moved in the dark, something born from scorn, something human. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity did not shout war cries across the stars. No fleets jumped toward alien worlds. No angry messages filled open channels. Instead, Earth turned every tool, every factory, every mind toward one goal: get ready. The old perimeter zone, once a wide, empty buffer, became something else. Humans called it the kill box. Now, every jump point that led into human space filled up fast, tiny drones. The size of cars drifted into place. Each drone carried long kinetic spears sharp enough to punch through battleship armor. They waited, silent, and dark sensors watched for any ship that crossed the line without permission. Behind the drones sat hidden minefields. Gravitic charges floated in careful patterns. They pulled ships off course, then crushed hulls like paper. Bigger mines waited deeper, packed with antimatter that could erase whole squadrons in one flash. On the main trade lanes, false beacons appeared. They looked like friendly navigation lights, but sent ships straight into traps. Fast attack craft hid nearby, ready to strike anything that followed the wrong signal. In shipyards, new classes rolled out. The Vengeance class looked long and mean. Black hulls absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Main guns ran the full length of the ship, able to fire slugs at speeds that turned metal to plasma. The first ones left dry docks, quiet and fast, headed for border stations. Reaper-class carriers came next, huge round ships with bays that opened like angry mouths. Each carried thousands of small fighters, drones, missiles, anything that could swarm and bite. They moved in groups of 3, always watching each other's backs. Porcupine frigates filled the gaps, small, fast ships covered in railgun barrels. Every side bristled with weapons. They spun in place and poured fire in every direction. No one wanted to get close to them. Civilian ships changed. 2 luxury liners painted over bright colors with dull gray armor. Passenger decks turned into troop barracks, entertainment stations. In orbit, added gun turrets and shield generators. Asteroid mining rigs grew, thick plating and missile pods. They became moving forts that could hold a line for days. People worked without rest. Factory lights stayed on all night. Workers ate quick meals at their stations, then went back to tasks. Engineers tested new systems until everything ran perfect, no mistakes allowed. In training camps across planets, recruits learned fast. They ran through mock battles in zero gravity. They practiced shooting at moving targets. They studied alien ship designs until they knew every weak spot. They learned to board crippled enemy vessels and take control room by room. One young soldier from Mars finished a drill and wiped sweat from his face. He looked at his squad and said simple words. They laughed at us now. We make them remember. His friends nodded. No big speeches needed. Everyone understood. On Earth, old rivals forgot old fights. Nations that argued for years now shared factories, shared plans, shared people. The whole planet moved as one. No one asked who led. They just did the work. Colonies far out sent messages home. We stand with you. Every mining town, every research base, every farm dome joined the effort. They built weapons. They trained fighters. They waited. Scientists pushed hard. New engines let ships jump farther and faster. New shields stopped energy weapons. Cold new armor laughed at kinetic hits. Labs worked day and night ideas turned real in weeks, not years. In quiet command rooms, leaders watched maps, lines moved closer to the old border, ships took positions, crews reported ready, admirals spoke low, keep building, keep training, wait for their move. The galaxy watched close. Alien spies tried to look inside human space, but drones chased them away, sensors caught every probe and destroyed it fast. No secrets leaked out. On Vexara, Prime delegates met again. They talked about humans, with less laughter now. Reports came in every hour, ship numbers grew, weapon tests detected across human systems, trade stopped completely, alien merchants lost billions and begged their governments for help. Vornak 9 stood in his chamber and stared at screens. His mandibles clicked hard. These apes moved too fast, they should fight each other by now. His officers looked worried. One said, "Sir, our analysts say they prepare for total war, not defense, total war." Vornak 9 waved him quiet. "They bluff, they always bluff, watch they crack soon." But no crack came. Instead, human broadcasts stayed calm and short. One message, repeated on open channels: "You asked us to kneel, we stand instead, watch what happens next." No ships moved toward concordance worlds. Yet humans stayed inside their lines. They fortified, they waited, they grew stronger every day. Volunteers kept coming. Recruitment halls stayed full. People from every walk of life signed up: teachers, farmers, doctors, engineers, all learned to fight. One old woman from a small colony finished basic training and smiled at the instructor. She said, "I may be slow, but I shoot straight." The instructor laughed and saluted her. No one turned anyone away. Everyone had a place. In ship corridors, crews drilled until actions became automatic: load, fire, reload, move, load, fire, reload, move. They ate, slept, and trained in shifts. No one fell behind. Engineers on carriers tested drone launches. Thousands launched at once, filled space like angry bees, then returned perfect. Every test passed. On dreadnought bridges, captains ran battle sims. They fought against bigger numbers and won. They changed tactics and won again. No sim ended in defeat. Across human space, the same quiet determination spread. People did not cheer loud. They did not wave flags high. They worked, they prepared, they remembered the laughter from Vexara, and that memory fueled every hammer strike, every weld, every drill. Alien fleets started to gather. The Concordance called ships from every member world. They formed task forces. They practiced maneuvers. They told each other humans would fold under pressure. But human space stayed silent. No pleas came, no ambassadors returned, no cracks appeared in the wall. One night on a porcupine frigate, the captain stood on the bridge. He looked at the stars beyond the perimeter and spoke quiet. "They think we are weak because we waited. Now they will learn we waited to become strong." His crew heard him and smiled small smiles. They knew he spoke truth. The galaxy waited for the first spark. Everyone knew it would come soon. The humans built too much, trained too hard, stood too firm. No one slept easy on alien worlds anymore. Doubt grew in quiet conversations. What if they do not break? What if they fight? No answers came, only more reports of human ships launching, more factories roaring, more people standing ready. The preparation phase ended not with fanfare, but with silence, a heavy silence full of promise, the kind that comes before thunder. Humans did not start anything, they simply made sure they could finish anything. And the stars watched, waiting for what came next. 3 weeks passed after the last treaty died. The first real test came at Tykara, for a quiet border world once shared by humans, and Krelith joint labs stood empty. Now humans left fast. When the order came, Krelith stayed and claimed the whole planet. Concordance sensors picked up a small convoy, 6 human transports, with 2 escort cruisers. They jumped in close to the main colony. No warning, no hail, they simply appeared. The Krelith picket squadron moved quick, 4 heavy cruisers and 12 smaller escorts. The commander broadcast on open channel: "Stand down, human vessels. This system belongs to Concordance law. Turn back or face destruction." The lead human ship answered short and clear: This system falls under Terran control until full payment for 80 years of insults and stolen work. The Krelith commander laughed loud across every channel, then his laugh stopped fast. The heavy cruiser Indomitable opened fire first. Railguns spoke in perfect rhythm. Heavy slugs crossed the gap in seconds. They punched straight through the lead Krelith cruiser armor, folded like wet paper. The ship split in two bright flashes followed. The rest of the human ships joined in. Porcupine escorts spun and poured point defense. Fire Reaper drones launched in waves. They swarmed the smaller escorts like angry insects. Missiles tracked and hit engines, blew out hulls. Cracked life support failed. The Krelith tried to return fire. Energy lances stabbed toward Indomitable. Shields flared blue, but held. The human ship answered with a full broadside. Secondary guns joined the main battery. The second Krelith cruiser lost its bridge in one clean hit. Boarding pods shot from human carriers. Small fast craft latched onto crippled ships. Marines in heavy armor cut through hulls. They moved room by room, no mercy. No pause. Krelith soldiers fought hard, but humans knew the layout. They had built those labs after all. The fight lasted 11 minutes. When it ended, every Krelith ship drifted dead. No surrender. No escape pods launched. The human convoy took light damage. One frigate lost a turret, nothing more. Clean footage spread across the galactic net despite concordance blocks. People saw the battle from every angle. Precise, calm, merciless. No waste, no rage, just work done well. Panic started on many worlds. Elysians, who once called humans short-lived candles, now locked down their core systems. They pulled ships home and raised shields. Machine minds ran new calculations and found odds much lower than before. Gorvak's fleet stayed in dock. Commanders argued loud about what came next. Vornak 9 watched the recordings in his command hall. His mandibles clicked fast and angry. He slammed a claw on the table. This insult demands full answer. Mobilize everything. His officers hesitated. Some whispered quiet words. The humans did not run. They did not beg. They struck first. And one clean. Many remembered old stories about Deathworld species that fought harder when cornered. Across concordant spaceships gathered largest fleet ever seen. Thousands of vessels from every member. Thousands more support craft. They practiced tight formations. They loaded full magazines. They told each other humans would break when faced with real power. But humans did not sit still. More convoys moved. Some took empty systems near the border. Others reinforced weak points. Drone swarms grew thicker. Minefields added new layers. False beacons multiplied. Jump inhibitors appeared in key lanes. One small human scout group met a concordance patrol near the edge. Both sides fired quick. The patrol lost 3 ships and ran. The humans chased for a short time, then stopped. They left the wrecks as warning. Word spread fast. Every species heard the same thing. Humans do not bluff anymore. They hit hard and vanish. On Earth, people watched the Tikara fight on home feeds. No big celebrations. Quiet nods passed between strangers in streets. Factory workers worked faster. Recruit lines grew longer. One old veteran sat in a bar on Luna. He raised his glass and spoke low to the ones who flew today. Others joined the toast. Simple words carried weight. In command centers, admirals studied the battle. They saw what worked. They saw small mistakes. They fixed them fast. New orders went out. Adjust drone patterns. Tighten shield timing. Train boarding teams harder. No one rested easy. Everyone knew bigger fights waited. Alien diplomats tried secret channels. They sent messages through back routes. Please talk. Let us find peace. No answer came. Instead, another message appeared on open bands, short and cold. You wanted limits, now you get none. Think hard before the next step. The galaxy felt colder. Many species remembered old wars long forgotten. They remembered how pride blinded leaders. They saw the same pride in their own halls now. Vornak 9 pushed harder. He demanded total war. He said humans must learn their place forever. Some listened, some delayed. Others started quiet talks about new alliances, new plans that did not include endless fight. But the fleet still formed, ships jumped toward staging points, crews drilled day, and night weapons charged to full. Humans watched every move, sensors tracked every jump, they adjusted lines, they moved ships, they waited calm. One captain on a Vengeance class stood on his bridge. He looked at the star map and spoke soft, "They come soon, let them come, we ready." His crew answered with steady eyes, no fear, only purpose. The first sparks lit the dark, now fire waited close. The galaxy held still, knowing nothing would stay the same after the next clash. Humans did not start the big war, yet they simply showed what happened when someone pushed too far. The lesson spread fast, no one laughed anymore. The stars waited quiet, ready for the storm that grew closer every hour. 6 months after the last treaty vanished, the biggest Concordance fleet ever built jumped toward Sol. They gathered from every corner, thousands of ships, capital-class cruisers, battle carriers, swarm tenders, support vessels, escorts. They filled space like a metal cloud. Engines glowed bright as they emerged from hyperspace close to the old perimeter line. Commanders expected see. How's a desperate human defense, broken lines, scattered ships begging for terms. They found nothing. No armada waited, no defensive spheres, no mine clouds in plain sight, no transmissions of defiance, only black empty space and distant stars that looked the same as always. Vornak 9 stood on the bridge of his flagship Eternal Dominion. He stared at empty scanners and felt a small twist in his gut. "Where are they?" he asked his tactical officer. The officer checked again. "Nothing, sir, no contacts, no energy spikes, no movement." The fleet spread out in careful formation. Scouts pushed forward, heavy ships held center, escorts circled wide. They moved slow and sure, looking for the trap they knew must wait. Then the trap woke up. First came the false jump beacons, small lights that mimicked safe exit points. Ships that followed them found themselves pulled into tight gravity wells. Mines hidden in the dark woke and crushed hulls in seconds. Bright flashes lit the void as cruisers died before they understood why. Next the drone swarms appeared. They looked like civilian probes at first. Then they turned and attacked thousands. At once they targeted engines, weapons, sensors. They moved in patterns too fast for most crews to track. Explosions bloomed across the formation like sudden flowers. Concordance ships answered with every gun. They had energy lances cut through space. Railguns answered back. But the drones died in hundreds. And more came. They came from every angle, from behind, from above, from inside the fleet itself. Human ships jumped in, then they appeared from nowhere. Fast carriers opened bays and released fighters by the thousands. Vengeance dreadnoughts arrived with guns already hot. They fired full broadsides into the stunned Concordance capitals. Porcupine frigates spun through the mess, pouring fire without pause. Boarding teams launched next. Small pods latched onto crippled dreadnoughts. Marines cut inside. They moved through corridors filled with smoke and bodies. They knew the ship designs better than the crews who built them. They took bridges, they turned guns on sister ships. They fought without anger, just cold purpose. Vornak 9 watched his fleet die in pieces. One by one, capitals cracked, carriers lost their launch bays, escorts vanished in bright bursts. His officers shouted reports, damage mounting, losses climbing, no clear target to hit. He ordered a full retreat. The fleet tried to jump out. Many beacons failed, others led to more kill zones. Ships that escaped carried heavy scars and terrified crews. Eternal Dominion took the worst hit. Human boarding parties reached the bridge. Vornak 9 stood tall with his guards around him. They fought hard, claws against rifles, energy blades against armor. But humans kept coming. They wore heavy suits that shrugged off hits. They moved as one. They spoke no words of hate, only commands to secure the room. The last image sent before the flagship went dark showed human Marines walking calm through halls lined with Krelith dead rifles. Still warm smoke hung thick in the air. The bridge fell silent. The remnants of the Concordance fleet limped home. What returned looked broken. Ships leaked, air crews stared blank. Many vessels stayed behind, drifting tombs in the dark. Panic spread through the Council world's delegates who once laughed now sat quiet. They watched reports of the battle footage, showed clean, precise destruction. No waste, no mercy, just humans doing what they planned. No occupation followed, no human fleets jumped to alien home worlds. No demands for surrender came. Earth simply waited. Days later, a single unarmed courier drone arrived at Vexara Prime. It carried one message text only, no voice, no image. We finish being your warning story. The next time you speak of containing humanity, remember today, we start no war. But if you force one, we finish it. The drone left without waiting for reply. Species across the galaxy read the words. Many felt cold, many remembered old lessons. Never mock a deathworld species. Never call them weak when they choose to stay calm. The concordance broke apart slowly. Some members pulled ships home, others signed quiet pacts with neighbors. A few even reached out to human channels asking for talks. No answer came yet. On Earth, people watched the news feeds. They saw the battle clips, they heard about the message. No big parties filled streets, no flags waved high. People simply nodded. They went back to work. Factories slowed, but stayed ready. Ships patrolled borders, but did not push. Crews trained, but rested more. One admiral stood on a station above Mars. He looked at the blue planet below and spoke quiet. We showed them. We stop now unless they push again. His officers agreed. The war ended before it grew full, not with conquest, with proof. Across stars, the old laughter died. Forever delegates spoke careful words now. They measured every sentence. They remembered the small group that walked out of the hall. They remembered the silence that followed. They remembered the fire that answered. Humans did not rule the galaxy. They did not claim every world. They simply made one thing clear: never taunt a species that learned to survive ice, fire, flood, plague. And time, they might answer in ways no one forgets. In quiet bars on distant colonies, old spacers raised glasses. They spoke soft to the ones who walked out, to the ones who waited, to the ones who finished it. Others joined the toast. Simple words carried far. The galaxy turned slower. Now ships moved. Careful trade started again. But on new terms. No one set limits on Earth anymore. No one laughed at deathworlders. No one called humans vermin or apes in open halls. The lesson stayed burned deep. Never poke the bear when the bear decides to stand. And humanity stood tall. No chains, no apologies, just quiet strength that waited if needed. The stars watched calm, knowing some truths last forever. The end.